So I just recently watched the newest Minecraft film, and I have to say I'm kind of confused. I don't know exactly what I watched. Like I actually enjoyed the movie, but there's a sequence where there's a character, a side character I should mention, that falls in love with a villager. Yes, that dude. I'm not sure exactly what this person saw in the villager, but there's kind of like a romantic aspect to it. I'm genuinely curious how the villager has all this game. How is he a player? How is he getting women left and right? But anyways, let's get straight into today's video, because I actually wanted to talk about something that popped up on my radar just today, and according to multiple different sources, there's some leaked information about a new Marvel versus Capcom 2 SH Figuarts Cyclops action figure. And I usually don't talk about action figures before there's like an actual pre-order window, but I just had to talk about this because this is kind of interesting. This is yet another take on the whole Marvel versus Capcom universe, which has been expanding. We know Hasbro's been doing their stuff. We know a lot of different OMs are taking on like the Fighter franchise. We have, for example, Jada Toys, we have Storm Collectibles, so on and so forth. There are quite a few different manufacturers working on different video game franchises. It seems like it's the era of video games, right? We just got not only the Marvel versus Capcom stuff, but we have actually received a lot of Gamerverse PlayStation action figures. We also got the Avengers universe from that video game way back in the day from Hasbro. So there's definitely an intent to manufacture more action figure based video game characters, and this is a perfect example here. Now, there does seem to be an effect piece that can be ported on to Cyclops visor, which is really cool. If I'm not mistaken, Hasbro had received just recently a brand new effect piece for their own Cyclops action figure, which is really cool, and SH is definitely upping their game. Now, there was a really interesting picture. I'm not sure if this is just something that's for the promotional image or if it's an actual cardboard backdrop that is going to be included with this release, but there was one where it showcased like his special optic blast move, which, as I said, I'm not sure if it's just for the promotional image or if this is something that's going to be included with the figure, which is actually kind of cool. Like, if you actually stop to think about it, a cardboard backdrop that, you know, could display the figure, because, you know, clearly you're never going to be able to manufacture something like this in plastic form. So this definitely makes sense. I like it. I think it's creative. It's innovative. A lot of these cardboard backdrops for these action figure releases, whether it's SH or whoever the case may be, they're usually very lackluster. At least they're forcing you to keep some cardboard around, I guess, and it's not just a throwaway. As I said, it could just be some promotional thing where they're just doing like some digital backdrop or something crazy like that, or some sort of cardboard printout, but it'll never really be released for the public. Or it could be something cool, something innovative. I'm just throwing it out there. Once the actual pre-order window hits, then we'll know for sure, which is at the beginning of the month. I believe the pre-orders go up on July 1st, if I'm not mistaken. You can definitely see that there will be multiple different pairs of hands. And it's also worth mentioning that I counted at least 3 different face plates. There's one that's like calm, serene. There's another one that's very intense, and then one that has the mouth wide open. So you have a plethora of different options when it comes down to displaying your Cyclops action figure. And as I said, now is the perfect time to start releasing this. Everybody's doing Street Fighter action figures. Everybody's doing Marvel. Everybody's doing Capcom, and it's only a matter of time before we see SH continue to release these action figures later down the line. Now, I have floated this idea for quite some time, but we know that, for example, they do some base action figure reveals for the anime lines that are about $35 a pop. I've often floated around the idea where maybe they could do something for Marvel. I'm not sure if it has to do more with licensing fees and maybe Hasbro just not allowing a $35 price point action figure line here in the States. But as I said, I know SH does something similar. Bandai does something similar for the anime characters, where it's kind of like a more stripped down version, less accessories. And I see them all the time at like Target and Walmart for about $35. It would be interesting to see something like that for the Marvel universe, although I think that's kind of a pipe dream. And then McFarlane decided to announce 2 more 1/6 scale statues from the Marvel Universe. If you guys have been keeping up with McFarlane, I feel like it's one of his fallback lines. Once he loses the DC license, this feels like something that he could jump like full-fledged into and start, manufacturing statues for a lot of different universes. And the Marvel Universe has definitely been one that he's had quite a bit of focus on. And we are supposed to be getting a new Spider-Man as well as a Deadpool. The Deadpool is supposed to be based on, well, Deadpool #1. It looks really cool. The base actually looks incredibly intricate. There's Captain America's shield in the ground, and he's, has a giant blaster in his hands. I know we have received at least a couple of different Deadpool statues. There was one that featured him in like his first appearance look, and this is, I think, a more modern take on Deadpool, and I like it. I love the 1/6 scale statues. I've said it before, even though I'm not really a statue guy, I prefer action figures, but I still think that they have their value, and it's definitely a figure or a statue worth keeping an eye on. Now, when it comes down to these Marvel statues from McFarlane, they're actually pretty affordable from time to time. I know the 1/10 scale usually go for about $29.99, and if I'm not mistaken, the 1/6 scale usually goes for about $49.99. I think the price hikes might affect that a little bit, but yeah, if you're patient, you should be able to find them on sale. Like the 1/10 scale, I've seen them for as low as like $13 to $14, and then the 1/6 scale, I've seen them for as low as like $23 to $25. So even if you don't want to pay the full price, they do have the habit of going on sale from time to time. And then they also showed off the 1/6 Spider-Man statue from Marvel Tales number 223. It has a little Spidey sense effect piece on top of his head. It has some really cool, intricate Doc Ock tentacles coming out from the base. It's really cool. Now, what I have really liked from McFarlane is that he's utilizing the cardboard backdrops more and more consistently, and I have to say they blend in perfectly with the bases from time to time. I don't know if that many people will try to display the cardboard backdrop. Honestly, I feel like it's something that you may use like once or twice, but I don't know if people really want these in their display. But just as the statue is with the base and the really cool, iconic, intricate pose from Spider-Man, I think that's definitely enough to really appease big giant Marvel fans. And I've said this before, and I'll just continue bashing it to death, but yes, I think it is very important to have like iconic, really good covers, but also really iconic poses from some of these characters. And Spider-Man is definitely way up there. I want him, swinging from building to building, or fighting a villain or something crazy like that. I don't want him just standing upright, which is kind of what Deadpool is doing here for his particular statue. But if I'm getting a Spider-Man, if I'm getting a Venom, if I'm getting a Hulk, I want them in some cool, intricate action pose, and that's exactly what you're getting here. So if you guys are interested, both of these are up for pre-order at the moment of this recording. The Cyclops is right around the corner. As I said, within the next week or so, I think a lot of pre-orders will start popping up. Now, I do want to expand on the whole video game universe action figures, so definitely stay tuned. I do have another video right around the corner. But as always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to stick around. We're actually uploading on a daily basis, which is, sometimes a little bit fatiguing, but I definitely enjoy it, and hopefully you guys enjoy watching it just as much. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys planning on picking up any of these action figures or any of these statues? Have you ever picked up the statues? Do you think that they're readily available and affordable? I think that's another big point of emphasis. I definitely feel like they're much more affordable than some of their competitors. A lot of statues at that 1/10 scale to 1/6 scale can be way up there in price. I mean, I've seen a lot of 1/6 scale statues go for as high as like $200 to $300. McFarlane's trying to keep it as affordable as he possibly can. He's probably using some slightly cheaper plastic and some cheaper packaging perhaps, but I think he knows his fan base. He knows, his wheelhouse, and that's exactly where he's staying. And you definitely have to give him credit at least for that. But as always, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys excited for some of these reveals? We definitely have a lot of content on the way. So as I said, stay tuned, stay safe out there, enjoy the hobby, pose your action figures, play around with them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.